My name is Barbara, and I'm a teacher here at the English Language School. Today, I would like to speak to you about the history of this great province, Alberta. So let me sit down and we can begin. The long history of Alberta began 10,000 years ago. We can see evidence of the Indigenous peoples living on this land for more than 10,000 years. They were nomadic hunters, following the bison and elk over the prairies and other animals into the mountains. The first Europeans to Canada were the Vikings that explored eastern Canada, and later in the 1400s, the explorers. The first Europeans to Alberta came in the 1750s. They came to trade fur with the Indigenous peoples. Fur was becoming a popular commodity in Europe, and so the explorers moved across Canada looking for more and more fur to send home. Later, these Europeans began building trading posts or forts. You can visit Fort Edmonton Park in the river valley, and you can see an example of one of these trading forts. Later, the European people began to settle around Alberta. In the 1800s, the Europeans began ranching on this land. By this time, many First Nations peoples had died from European diseases or weapons that were brought to this land. They were also dying from the disappearance of the animals they had come to rely on. When the treaties were signed in the late 1800s, many First Nations were moved to reservations, or land reserved for the Indigenous population, while the European settlers settled across the province. By the early 1900s, the European population greatly expanded due to the government's campaign. By providing cheap land, they were able to attract settlers who would create farms and expand the influence of European governance. Alberta officially became a Canadian province in 1905. The economy expanded from ranching and wheat farming to oil and coal mining and further agricultural development throughout the 1900s. This is just a small bit of information of the great history of this province. There's so much to learn and to explore. Importantly, understanding that the Indigenous populations were here long before the European settlers is key. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy exploring more about Alberta.